Welcome to the very first episode of Cringe Club with me, Emily Jane Clark, aka Queen of Cringe. So why would I share my most embarrassing moments on a podcast? Well, my new book Cringe Club is all about three tweens who have just started secondary school and are trying to fit in and make friends while navigating excruciating disaster after disaster. However, they create a group chat called Cringe Club, where they share their shame and try to support each other, usually by seeing the funny side. Anyway, eventually they learn to embrace their cringe. So I have decided to do the same. Is it cringy to make a podcast about cringe? Absolutely. But I am embracing it. So here goes. Now, in the club today, we have a very special guest. Zoologist and author of many brilliant books. He's written about everything from dogs and frogs to birds and eggs, evolution, and all sorts of animal thingamies. It's Jules Howard!
Animal thing, what? No, we need to qualify animals as this amazing, important part of planet Earth. Anyway, EJ, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming. Now, this is even more exciting than usual because Jules is my actual friend in real life, which is probably why you agreed to do this podcast, let's be honest. I just hope it's not going to, ruin your street cred in the old science community, to be associating with such a cringe bag.
No, there's no reputation that can be destroyed because it doesn't exist, so it's all good, it's great.
Okay, well that's good to know, but welcome to the Cringe Club. I'm so happy to have you here.
Do we do a face when you say welcome to the Cringe Club? Is there like some sort of
cringe face
gesture we do, or a cringe face?
Yeah, okay. Could we have a noise as well? Like, is that, yeah, oh, that's good. That's good.
Listen, do you know what's just popped into my head? This is super interesting, right?
Okay.
Would you like to know why we have a cringe face?
No, that is interesting. This is why it's good to get a scientist on the pod. Okay,
so
go
I'm
for
going to say this now before I forget it, but it is so cool. So about so Charles, you're sitting down, right? You got your pen out. So Charles Darwin, famously after the Origin of Species, he wrote a few other books, and no one ever knows those. But one of them is called something like The Expressions of Emotion in Man and Animals, or something like that. Anyway, so he looked at different cultures around the world and what they did when they saw disgusting stuff, and they all pulled the same face. So it's a universal human gesture. In other words, we inherited it from an ape ancestor, and that is the disgust face. And the cringe or disgust face, basically what we do is, sorry, we've gone in really hard, really quick, EJ.
This is interesting.
So the cringe face, you imagine it, I'm doing it now, like neck goes back, head pulls right back into shoulders, and then often it's kind of like it's a sort of mouth open, tongue out kind of exhalation. You know what I mean? You're getting rid of whatever's inside you. And that is because disgusting things, think about like horrible noxious gases from dead bodies and stuff like that. You don't want that in your body, so your body automatically goes and sort of protects itself and closes the eyes so they don't get stuff in them and stuff like that. So there you go. I would say a cringe is it's a human thing. It's beautiful.
I love that. And I also love the idea that perhaps the chimpanzees and apes used to do that same face. And actually they do kind of now still, don't they? If you see them in the zoo,
we're all part of the same Cringe Club.
Yeah, that's amazing. Maybe I'll get one on to come and, talk cringe. That's genuinely interesting. Thank you. And I shall be stealing that story when I do school events to make me look clever.
Good.
So thank you for that, Jules.
Good. I'll just go then now. Have we got everything we need?
No, that's all. That'll do me, to be honest. But yeah, as you know, as well as giving us amazing facts like that, the main reason you are here is to get any cringes you may have been carrying around with you all your life, maybe, off your chest. Because I believe by sharing our shame, it can make us feel better, you see. But before we start, I just have one very important question that I've been wondering about. What is the cringiest animal?
Whoa, the cringiest animal. That's an interesting one. I'm running through the old what are they called, Rolodex, like back in the 80s and 90s.
In your mind.
Yeah, it's flipping through all of the probably 100,000 animals I've written about, and I'm like scanning through, and like I suppose there's the sloth. No offense to the long-toed sloths out there, but they're very sort of slow, and they're like, oh no, I've got stuck on a road and I can't seem to get across properly. So I suppose when their hands sort of naturally form a kind of a sort of linking motion.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you see them on telly, and people just like slot them over someone's head, and they just dangle on the human neck, and they look really sort of needy. So I
yeah,
suppose that pops into my head. And like with some cats, like obviously cats, they've got so many different personalities, haven't they? And they're so great. But we used to have a cat when I was younger, and it was kind of sort of any time you walked in the room, it went, oh, hello, can I sit on your lap? And then it would just be one of those cats that were like globules of
yeah.
spit would form at the sort of corners of the mouth. And then she'd just basically just be like, oh, please stroke me now for the rest of the time you're in this room. And I would have this lot. And sometimes I'd walk into a room and she'd turn around, hello. And I'd go, oh, God, I need to get out of here. So I'd say that was a little
That is
bit
quite
cringe.
cringy.
But mostly, I don't think there are many animals that make me cringe. Is there any that make
Yeah.
you cringe?
Well, the reason I asked this because I don't often watch nature documentaries. I probably should, then I would know more. But I was watching one once, and they have like these mating rituals. Like the male will go and do something in front of the female creature to try and entice her or something. Now I know you know a lot about this because you've written about it before, but I think it was some kind of spider. A colourful spider. Could it be a peacock spider or something?
It is a
And
peacock
it was
spider, I bet. Yeah.
doing the most dorky dance. It was like lifting its legs up, like, all right, love, all right, look at me. And then flashing its bits. When I say bits, I mean I don't think they have bits. I think the colourful peacocky colours. But it was
Yeah.
really funny. It was literally lifting one leg up high and then here and there in front of the female. And that just made me think that is so cringy. So
Yeah, do you know what? You've unlocked a whole area of cringe I've never thought about before with animals, and that is animals where the males are going to such extreme lengths, but often the females just couldn't give a monkeys. So
yes,
that would
yeah.
fit into that category. There's other insects that do that. It's like these insects, they've got really long legs. They look like daddy long legs flies, and they make a little a ball of silk, and they kind of wrap up a dead spider in it, and then they fly towards the females, and they're kind of like, oh, look at my lovely present, look at my lovely gift for you. And then sometimes the females are so uninterested, and then like you've got these other males that go, okay, I can't find a spider, so I'm just going to just basically spit and make a massive globule of this stuff, and then go like, oh, look at mine's really nice. And then again the female flies are sort of uninterested, and sometimes they just sort of, sometimes I think they even eat the male flies with things like scorpion flies. The female's just like, I'm just going to eat you. You're so cringe. I might as well just eat you and use your
that
energy.
bad because they're not impressed by the spit ball thing,
Yeah,
or whatever. No,
yeah.
well,
But peacocks generally, I would say as well, that's a bit cringe. All that energy,
yeah,
that
I'd forgot about
giant
them.
tail feather,
Yeah,
and also they shake their feathers, make this like little sort of whirring noise. And again, a lot of them are like, "Oh, you've not got enough eye spots, mate. You're not my type." And
that's not
I
it.
think that's a bit cringy for them as well.
Yeah, but I think I probably humanize it a bit because I'm thinking if someone did that in real life, if a human man came up and did a funny dance trying to like crack onto you or got a spitball out, you'd just be like, oh God, or actually, would I? It's been a while. Maybe that's what would work for me when I'm down the discos, Jules, because as you know, I'm always down the discos.
Disco. I mean, that's what I see when I think of you. I think she's been down the
She's been
discos
down the
again,
disco.
down the road
But
mender
yeah.
again.
But exactly. But I suppose it's different in the animal kingdom. But don't worry, I haven't just got you here to talk about your animal knowledge. I feel like I'm hogging your brain. I did say you could get stuff off your chest, and I've just been making you give me facts about animals, which is actually really interesting. But I promised you a session of sharing our shame. So should we go right back? What have you got anything like very early memory of like the first time you felt like majorly embarrassed?
My first cringe. I think the things that I sometimes wake up in the night and just go, and remember, a
Yes.
lot of them are to do with sort of teenage love. And like, so for instance, I remember once writing in a Valentine's card. I reckon I must have been, I don't know, 13, 14. I always wanted to write a Valentine's card to someone and just say, I love you. And so I
Oh,
wrote a Valentine's
please tell
card,
me you didn't.
and I wrote "I love you," and and then I handed it to the girl, and then she was just like, "Bloody hell, that's a bit much." We were going out, but she was like, "Oh gosh, that's a bit. I
Yeah,
wasn't
bit
expecting
soon.
that." And then one of our teachers came in and was like, "Oh, look, Valentine's Day card," and he picked it up and he just read it as well, and it just
Oh,
said, "Dear blah blah blah, I love you,
oh
Jules."
God.
And he was just, I could see he was like, "Oh no, that's a bit weird. You don't just put that in a card when you're 13 or
At least he
14."
didn't read it out loud. He didn't read it out loud.
No,
No, that would
no,
be, that
true.
is embarrassing, Jules. Bless you though, little
Anyway,
Jules.
3 months later, she did finally put in a letter to me that she
Did
also loved me.
she?
Yeah,
Oh, and how long did that last?
and then it lasted about another 3 weeks after that,
Oh,
and then
okay. That's good
yeah, I
innings
didn't
for a
just thought,
13-year-old
yeah, thanks.
relationship. So, but you were keen. Yeah, that stuff was embarrassing back then, having crushes or when somebody comes and has a crush on you. Because obviously back then there was no texting. You had to go and ask someone out with your mouth. And usually there was loads of other people around. And just, either take the yes or no. It was embarrassing getting asked out as well. I remember on Valentine's Day, remember your brother, right?
Hmm.
Loads of people fancied him. He was right hunk at school. He was a couple of years older, wasn't he? But somebody else in the school had exactly the same name as your brother. But trust me, he was
Yeah.
no hunk. He was like the opposite of a hunk. And I think he was quite old, in the oldest year. And once I got this delivery on Valentine's Day, and I thought it was a bit odd because it was in like a blender box. Someone just came in, this girl's come and handed me a blender box, said Happy Valentine's Day. And anyway, so I look at the name and I think this is the hunky one. I can't believe my luck. I've never even spoken to him or anything. He must have been admiring me from afar. But I did think it's weird, why has he got me a blender? Open it, it wasn't a blender. It was like a plastic rose in there and some chocolates. And I just remember they were like, "Oh, what do you think?" And I was just like flattered. But then they pointed over. They were like, she likes you. She likes you to this guy in the corner. I looked up. It wasn't the hunky one. It was this other guy who I'd never heard of from, I think he was like from year 11 or something, just looking over, putting his thumbs up at me.
Oh,
And
mate.
I didn't know what to do. I panicked. And I know this sounds very horrible. He might have been a very nice boy, but at that age, you're just too embarrassed to care. I literally just ran out of the canteen, left the blender box on the table.
Oh no! I
How
mean, like, there's
embarrassing.
so many different mixed emotions here, because
I
in a way,
know.
I'm glad. It would have been even more cringe if you'd then run up to my brother and been like, "I got your gift,"
Yeah. Nice
and
touch
so
with
that would
a
have
hand
been,
blender. Yeah.
yeah, that would have been I mean, the blender box itself is cringe for me, because now we're parents. I see happen there is the kid's like gone to his, like, that morning, he's like, "I've got a rose," and he's walking out with the rose, and the mum's gone, "You can't go out with the rose, it'll break on the bus.
Yeah.
You need a box." "I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
got a box, mum. I haven't got a box." "You need a box. Quickly find a
Oh,
box." "No, Dad, come on, get a box. Let's go out now. Get a box." "I've got a blender box." "You put it in the blender box." Like, you know what I mean? It feels to me
oh
like there's a lot
no.
more going on behind the scenes,
Yes.
which makes it even worse that you just
Yeah.
spurned him.
I just ran away, but I was very young as well, and I'd never spoke to him. But now you think, yeah, bless him, and he probably went home to his mum, and she was like, "How did it go down, love? Did she like the stuff in the blender box?" And he would have had to say,
And he's like, "Mum, just
uh,
turn the blender off. I need to. I'll
"Yeah,
tell you, just turn the blender off."
yeah." Or maybe he's blamed her all these
Yeah.
years. Maybe he thought it was the blender box that offended me, and he was just like, "Mum, if I hadn't put it in the blender."
Whenever he hears a blender now, he just thinks of you and that day.
Oh my
So what happened to the
gosh.
blender box and the rose? Did you just walk away from it, leave it on a table? Did a dinner lady just put it in a bin?
I left it on the canteen table. I don't know whether someone gave it back to him. Um, I imagine someone ate the chocolates. But yeah, that stuff. Honestly, kids don't know how lucky they are today, just doing it all by blooming text. Because they don't even ask each other out straight away, do they? They have a pre-asking out where they're just like talking to each other on text. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
blooming wimps,
Well,
aren't
we had.
they?
Well, hang on, because we had. I don't know if this, like, every secondary school had this, but we had. Oh, we're seeing each other, which was like a sort of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
step
yeah,
before going out. So that we
yeah.
had that a little
Maybe.
bit, But obviously this generation, they don't do singing unless it's like little snaps or whatever. They're just
Yeah.
like, it's all about the talking. So
All
really,
the
yeah, now
talking,
it's the
which
talking
isn't actually
stage.
talking, it's texting, isn't it? So, and then
Yeah.
even if you want to dump someone, you don't have to like pluck up the courage to get your mate to do it. You could just text you dumped. Honestly,
Well,
what a
you've just
treat.
awoken a new cringe in me.
Oh, go on then,
So,
go.
once I reckon I was fourth year. So what's that? Year 10, and going out with a girl, and I really liked her. And I don't know what it was with me, but I was always like, I'd go on holiday, and then I'd have a bit of a break from school or whatever, and I'd just be like, oh, I thought I really fancied that person. Turns out I don't really. And then I'd go back to school. So it's a story of my teenage life.
Yeah.
Was that? It's like holidays
Yeah.
were the worst thing for me. Anyway, so I came back and I was like, basically one of the things that was itching at me was I really wanted to play football at lunchtimes, and she always wanted to hang around at lunchtime and just would sit in just one of the classrooms and chat. And then obviously the bell would go, we'd have a snog, and then that would be it. I was always like, I just want to play a bit more football. And so I said, look, we need to go for a walk. Let's go for a walk. And I took a deep breath and I said, like, oh, I'm not sure it's working out, and I really like you, but maybe we can just be friends. And then I don't know why, but I said something along the lines of like, I just want to play a bit more football at lunch. Oh, and she just looked really angry. I mean, she wasn't even sad; she was just angry. And she just sort of sat there looking angry, and I carried on sort of like trying to just fill. And then she just stood up, looked me in the face and went, enjoy your football, and walked off. And like, I just burst out crying because I was like, what an idiot, what an idiot.
Oh, God.
So yeah, that one
You
hurt.
were the one who ended up crying. Little heartbreaker, honestly.
I know, but it
poor
was
girl.
like I say, like what a foolish way to split up with someone, to say that you just wanted to get a bit sweaty at lunchtime with your boys.
Yeah, you don't realise at that age, do you? Like now, obviously, as grown-ups, you'd just say, it's not you, it's me. It's not, not working out. But just being brutally honest like that, I just want to play football. She probably hates football now. She probably can't bear it because it brings that old heartache back again, maybe.
Yeah. I just want to apologise to that person if they are listening to this, EJ.
Yeah, okay. They'll definitely be listening to this. I'm sure all your exes are. Well, obviously, we both know you did dump my sister, but I don't think that was bad.
Do you need to know? Come on, EJ, we need to have this out with all your listeners.
Then.
Basically, like, it was a really great relationship. I really, I never wrote "I love you" in a card to your sister, but like we had obviously. Well, this is a sign of the strength of our relationship. Is we would meet at lunchtimes in a classroom with her mates and my mates, and we would have little chats, and then we would get off at the end. And at no point did I think, I need to play football. So like the football thing didn't come up with your sister.
No.
Anyway, you ended up being such a powerful part of the relationship. And when it got to half terms, you were like, come on over to come over, hang around with us in our village. And I was like, oh God. Or like you were like, come and ring Laura up in the evening, let's have a chat. And I was like, oh God, the pressure's mounting. And eventually like the pressure got so it got so much. It had to be quietly, nipped in the bud.
Do you know what? I apologise. I think I was so excited that my sister had a nice boyfriend. Honestly, some of them are right old skankers she'd gone out with before. I was just too keen for you to be part of our family, wasn't I? And look at what I did. I don't,
it's so sad.
I'm sorry. What could have been? Could have been my brother-in-law. But
there would have been a lot of cringe moments if I was your brother-in-law.
Yeah, exactly. But it was all good. Would have been good material. So I'm a bit gutted I ruined that with my keenness for you to join the Clark family.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for sharing that. But shall we move on from crushes now? Things they both somehow involved our siblings, which I'm sure they're very pleased about.
Interesting.
Obviously, when you grow up, we leave all the cringes behind us, don't we? Or are they still with us? Do you have any kind of grown-up cringes?
I've got a lot of professional cringes. And again, like genuinely a couple of these like will still just pop into my head and just sort of stab me and then
At
just
night,
leave me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially at night. And like So I've had a few. I wonder if you've had this, like pitch meetings back in the day,
God,
where
yeah.
you'd be like, and I used to just be like, just be yourself, just be cash, just go for a coffee and just shoot the breeze. And then at some point I was like, I'm being too passive here, and I'd watched The Apprentice for too long, and I was like, I'm going to do a proper formal pitch using like little printed photos. So I was pitching this idea, and it was about the role of death in the evolution of life on Earth. So I had pictures of different extinct animals, and I was really selling it to this guy. I think he was a producer or something. Anyway, I know, really full of himself, loving me pitching because it gave him so much. He was just raising up really with the authority of me pitching like a desperate loser. And then twice he yawned whilst I was pitching. Oh,
God.
in The Apprentice when they do the interview ones near the end, and it's always the best episode. Like this would have been like that level of embarrassment.
Oh
And
no.
I just was not reading the room enough, and like it was just awful. So I think about that a fair bit. I've done over the years like lots and lots of like you, lots of presentations to schools. And I remember once talking about I'd had just much too much coffee, and it was quite a big secondary school gig. So I was getting paid a bit more money, and I was like, don't mess this up. Do not mess this up. So I went in, it was like all of year 9 or year 10, and there was so many people in the room. It must have been about 1,000, it felt like, in this hall. And I gave a talk I'd never given before, and messed up all my timings. And the more I realized I was just losing the audience, the more like the worse it got, and the more sort of sweaty I became. And then at one point I said the immortal line. I said to them, I was talking about the things that make us mammals. So I was like, nip. I didn't say nipples. I didn't say nips, but I was kind of like, look, we all produce milk for our babies. Hair is very much a mammal thing. And I was like, milk teeth, obviously these are the things that hedgehogs have, mice have, humans have it too. We're just animals, but we're just extraordinarily evolved, and we've got big brains. And then I said something like, I said something like, and sex, of course. And the room just went, and the teacher just went, what's he going to say now? And then I think I've got rid of this now, but in a situation like that, I was such a liability, because I was always like, no, embrace the embarrassment. So I said sex, and I said it again, and let it pause. And everyone's just like, what the hell is he going to say? And I was like, we shouldn't treat sex like it's, completely a human thing. It's a mammal thing. Like mammals are kind of obsessed with sex. And I said the immortal lines, you're all going to have sex. It hurts me.
I mean, it's true.
I know, but you can't you can't be a visitor in a secondary school.
No, you definitely
who doesn't
can't
know any of the kids or the teachers,
No.
who stands up there and declares that every single person in the room is going to have sex.
I mean, no. How?
Sometimes things are so bad, your brain just neatly goes, I'll just package that up and put it in a dark box. We'll never have to think about that again. But I do remember at the end walking out of the school, and like, when you have that nice bit as an author, when you're walking out of the school, and what you really want is the person, your minder for the day, to be like, you are amazing. The kids have had such a great time. And you sort of need to hear that to know, to validate yourself.
Yeah, of course.
And like, this lady was just walking in silence. She'd been really talkative on the way into the hall, but on the way out, she was just like awkward silence. It was very much like, okay, I need your badge, please. Thanks for coming in. Goodbye. And I was like, oh no, everything's gone wrong.
And I think you did well to just own it and say it again, because I think I would have tried to backtrack too much and made it worse by digging a big hole. So good for you for just going with it.
I watched your expression as I told you that story, and I said the immortal line, and you did do an absolutely brilliant, a Darwin-esque horror face. Yeah, so I'm glad that I got you to cringe.
Being a parent, that can bring a whole world of cringe, like the school gate and all that sort of thing. Do you have any parenting cringes you need to get off your chest? Or, I mean, I can think of one. Do you want to tell us about what happened with your dog when it went to the toilet outside the school gate?
Oh yeah, I've just when you first said that, I was like, I haven't got any. No, I haven't got any. Okay, so yeah, look, you wrote about this. You stole it.
I found it that
it's
amusing.
A real event. So when we first got the dog, the key thing, right, because you obviously haven't got a dog, right? The key thing is you just always got in your pocket in my left pocket is always some dog poo bags. And that is because they can poo at any time, anywhere. You've got to be prepared. So I used to take Oz down to the school gates, and there's a little patch of grass out the front. And at this point, because of COVID, all of the parents, like 100 parents gathered on the main road, and cars just had to just deal with it. And so I took Oz down, and on the one day I forgot his poo bag, Oz just started, curling one out on the patch of grass within mere meters of all these other parents. And obviously I'm thinking now, like I've got a better brain. I would say, has anyone got a dog poo bag? But for some reason, maybe it's because the dog was quite fresh in our lives, and I didn't want to look like a complete loser.
You were a newbie.
Has anyone got a bag?
Yeah.
And so in the heat of the moment, obviously I could have left the poo there and run back and got a bag, but I knew that the gossip outside school would be that guy just left a feces there. So I didn't do that. So the only solution was to sort of reach down with my left, not my right, because that would be grim, with my left hand, and scoop it up with my human claws, and then put it discreetly into my left pocket of my jacket, and then just carry on having normal outdoor school conversations with fellow parents. And as I was talking to fellow parents, I was just thinking, there's a warm feces in my left pocket. And I went home, obviously, washed the jacket. I've still got the jacket. Obviously, I took the poo out, obviously, then washed the jacket. And then relished in seeing it in what was it in? Is it the Pope?
I used to write for that satirical newspaper, Daily Mash, so I obviously had to use the story.
I was like, that's a funny story. Oh, it's me.
Yeah. It's just hilarious. I mean, you must have just gone into pure panic mode to think that was the best idea. I mean, I could have think of like 10 better ways you could have dealt with that. Kick it, leaf.
No. Yes, leaf. What? Yeah.
Leaf. Anything. And also, I'm curious to know this: why the left hand?
EJ, you said 10. You said 10. So you've got 2. You said leaf, kick.
Oh, a sock. I would have taken my sock off and used that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Receipt
I actually
out
did
of my
think
pocket.
of that. But I knew that getting a sock on, taking a sock off would attract much more attention. So I did. That was one I considered, definitely.
I mean, I'm pretty sure someone must have noticed you pick up a poo. Or were you
I also think someone would have at that exact moment gone, whoa, did he? He didn't have a bag. I didn't have a bag.
But I mean, why did you use why the left side? Why did that feel better to you? To use the left hand and left
I feel
pocket?
like the right, naturally we're more likely to put our hands in the right. If you're right-handed, maybe your hand's more likely to end up in a pocket on the right-hand side of your body. So that was the sort of the complex maths I was doing within the heat of the moment.
Yeah, but parenting can bring, it's almost like starting school again. I think that can bring a few good cringes.
Now the kids are sort of teenagers. I don't know if you do this. I cringe actually at hearing my voice now. So for instance, now they're teenagers, they're naturally, as happens with mammals, right? They're starting to think about, they're getting attracted to, boys or whatever. And it's definitely some serious emotional, hormonal changes going on. And suddenly boys are not just idiots anymore. They also are super hot, and they're also like dreamy and and then there's a little bit of me that's kind of like, oh no, the best thing for you is to just focus on schoolwork. These boys, come on, no. And like all these awful things like that. And, you put in all this work. I'm not saying it out loud, but I'm just like, you're putting all this work into your passions, and these boys, they're going to be demanding, conversations, and that's going to take up your time. And just play guitar for longer. You can play guitar. You don't need boys, and all these pathetic things. And I'm like, that is, I don't know where it's come from, but I hear myself saying that as a parent now, and I'm like, oh no, it's a tale as old as time.
All I can think when I hear myself, I'm just like, oh my God, I sound like such a mum. You know what I mean? It's like, I never thought I would become such a cringe bag parent, but you just do, it creeps up on you. And obviously they think we're really cringe as well. They just roll their eyes at me literally.
Some parents embrace it. I think they do. And maybe that's where that's where we should go, is just sort of go like, well, of course we sound like parents because we are parents.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe, I think because we're quite new to this sort of eye-rolling phase, because we've got a tween and young teens, maybe we haven't got to that point. do you have any like cringy hobbies or little habits that you're doing when you're sort of no one's around? For some reason, I've started winking at people, literally. The
Really?
a waitress the other day in the cafe, like, thanks. Like, not in a sexy way, just like I even added a little salute the other day, what is that? What is that? This is what I've
Yeah.
turned into. It's like the cringiest thing,
Winky.
and
I mean, wait,
I
talk
know.
me through the first wink you did. Were you like, here we go, I'm going to just whip this out? Did you see someone
I
on
just
telly do it, like a Burt
I
Reynolds
don't
or something?
it was probably a good 6 months ago. I don't know what, I don't think I'd seen anyone. I was just thanking a waitress in the
Mm.
cafe. Like I normally would just say, "Thank you, take the coffee." I
Wink.
think we had a little chat about how busy it was, and then I'd already said thank you, I think. So in my brain, I was like, "I need something else to," so I was just
Mm.
like, I
I I think you need to know that the person that you winked at, the first thing you did when you walked out is she went
"Mm,
back to the kitchen and went, "That lady just winked at me,"
God."
because
Yeah, you're
winking is
right.
not. It's not part of the normal social repertoire
No.
unless you're a dirty old man.
Oh God, I'm a
You're
dirty
not.
old
So
man.
no.
But it's not just, I'm not doing it in a sexy, I do it at men, women, girls, kids. I've winked at the
Listen,
lot.
she did it and it looked. Do it again. No. Oh, it's quite. See,
No, but you sh
unfortunately, it was a bit sexy.
no, I don't no, that was a
Uh,
joke one. It's a very subtle one. It's more like that, like a little jolly smile wink. And
yeah.
then
Well,
occasionally you get like a
the old
what?
salute. So that was the fingers, two fingers to
Yeah.
the left eye, and then
Yeah.
swiveling forward very quickly. Yeah,
Dorky,
I
innit?
think
What's
a salute's
happening?
quite cool. I think it's
I've,
weirdly, I think a salute's
no,
kind of cool because you're basically
is
saying
it?
like, yeah, team, we're respectful of each other, we've got each other's back. Whereas a wink is more like, if you've ever got any time off, we could meet up.
Oh, so what you're saying is I should always salute with my wink, to take the edge off it.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, you'll
If I
get
can't stop.
remembered, and that's half the
Yeah.
battle, right? So at least you'll get the kitchen staff
Oh,
will know all about you when you come in.
yeah.
I think that's
Oh
it's
God.
actually all right. Maybe who knows? Maybe this will be a new
I'll
thing.
start it
Like
off. I'll be a massive winker,
yeah,
Jules.
and as
That'll be
Uber
it.
winker, and that'll be your thing. Like we all need a thing. Yours could be
Yeah,
winking.
maybe I've just got to the age where I need a thing. How about you? Come on, tell me
Uh,
you've got a thing. If you've got anything or even like a cringy hobby or dorky thing you like to do. Um,
Everything I do is dorky. I wouldn't say it's.
yeah.
I don't cringe over it because,
Okay,
like, I mean, I go
no.
looking for fossils. Whenever I walk
Yeah,
across a
that's true.
gravel pathway, every single moment my eyes are scanning the ground, the shape and density of every single pebble, and going, "Is that a fossil? Is that a fossil? Is that a fossil? Is that a fossil?" So that to me is not. It's. I don't know. I don't know. You can tell me. Is that cringy? I just think that's unfortunately it's a sort of problem.
Yeah, no, I think it's good because I think actually we do embrace our cringy things. I embrace my badge
Mm.
collection now.
Yeah, of course.
I get it out with pride. I think we're less afraid of embracing these cringy hobbies now,
Mm.
aren't we? So yeah, that's a good thing.
Mm.
This next part of the show I like to call Cringers Anonymous, where we help a young person usually with their cringe. So I have some anonymous ones sent in to me. So I've got from OM, get me out of here. I accidentally sent a message saying a boy in my form looks really hot to the actual form group chat instead of my best friend. What should I do? That's a tricky one,
Oh.
isn't it? That would be so
Well, you
embarrassing.
haven't really got many choices because
No.
everyone's seen it. So I
Yeah,
think
everyone's
you've
seen
only
it.
got one choice, and that's to own it. I mean, the other
Yeah.
anything else. What would be cringe if that person went, "Oh, my little brother got my phone and used it. That wasn't really me." That would be cringe. Like, you know what I mean? Like an
Yeah.
obvious like way to cover it up. So I think
So
you just got to go.
do you think she should
Uh,
follow it up with anything or not? Or she or he? Oh,
yeah, I think no, you just sort of let it go, and then just let it sort of drift lower and
leave
lower and
it.
lower, and maybe in about 2 weeks delete it. But
Yeah.
I think if you
Own it.
delete it, even in 2 weeks, it will look like you've been considering it for 2 whole
Yeah, oh
weeks.
my God,
Do
that'll
you know
look
what I mean?
even worse if you go back but then
Yeah.
you never know, maybe that person thinks actually he's quite flattered and they end up
Mm.
together because of that
Yeah.
accidental
Or
message.
listen, you have to not just own it, you also have to acknowledge it, and so maybe
Yeah,
just be like,
okay.
that that, oh my God, that's embarrassing, full stop. Do you know what I mean? Or just something like that. I
Yeah.
think that's okay.
I don't know.
That's
But what you could do actually, OMG, get me out of here, you could send the same message about every single person in the class and then just pretend it was, you're trying to make everyone feel good. Couldn't you go through all 26 of them saying they're hot? And then
yeah,
you'd
this,
get,
that's
then
it.
there'd be so many messages saying someone's hot, they'd get lost about who was the first one and what about.
Or you could do a Spartacus, right, and tell every other girl in the class to say they also fancy the person,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
then nobody would ever know which was the true one. Yeah, I think both
Oh,
of those are solid. They're
I
solid,
think,
EJ.
yeah, there's a few options for you there. I hope that helps.
Mhm.
Okay, I have got one more for you. So this is from Miss T. I managed to sit next to my crush at lunchtime today, and we spoke for half an hour. Got home and noticed I had dried ketchup on my chin. I can never speak to them again, right? Ooh. That's embarrassing. That's
Hmm.
about a bit like when you've got something stuck in your teeth and you've been round all day, and you get home and you see a
Yeah.
big bit of spinach. But it's worse when you're younger, isn't it? And if
Could
you
I just
fancy
check
the
something here? So
person,
Miss
mm,
T just was talking to, do we know if this person was a guy?
we don't know.
Okay. Well, I'll just say this: having been a teenage boy,
Mm,
you know that famous psychological experiment where people sit down, right, and they watch a video, and it's of a basketball game, and they're told to watch the basketball and try and count how many times it goes in the net, and then afterwards, the psychologist says, "Did you notice the gorilla?" And they go, "What?" And they're like,
yeah.
"There's a gorilla, a man in a gorilla costume who walks right into shot and waves, and then walks out again."
Oh,
And apparently no one ever
nobody
sees it.
noticed.
I think one of the problems in secondary school, right, with the boys and the girls is the boys are not thinking or doing or knowing anything. So I don't even think they're going to have spotted the tomato ketchup. And
No.
if they did, they might have thought it was a blemish or something like that. But
Yeah,
I don't think it means anything in the way it might be
that
to
it's a
Miss T.
big thing. Yeah. See, the thing is, I think it might be the other way around with girls because I think I would notice stuff like that straight away.
That's
So I think we maybe notice more than boys. But yeah,
mm,
I hope you feel better after that, Miss T. The only other thing you might be able to get away with is if you try and get a bit of ketchup on their face.
mhm.
And then you could say, "Oh, that happened to me the other day," and sort of bond over that. I don't know, and you could become the ketchup couple. Couldn't
Listen, EJ, with this format, is Miss T ever going to get in touch and tell you what happened, like how she resolved the same with the person beforehand? Because I
I
want to
hope they
know. I don't think I can
will. I
sleep tonight. I
know.
want to know if
I
my
want to
advice has
know.
helped. Because
Yeah.
I'm that obsessed with my
You're that
own
needy. You're
impact
that
on the
needy.
world and that needy, cringy like a sloth.
If you are listening, we have helped with your problem, please get in touch. Because Jules needs to know he
Mm,
is the cringe king
yeah, yeah.
and he has helped you out. So, thank you for that. That was really good. I think we have helped some people there. And thank you for coming. But before
Thank
you
you. This
go,
has been very nice, EJ. Thank you very much
yeah,
for having me.
how do you feel? Do you feel freer?
I
Do
feel.
you feel lighter for getting those cringes off your
I
chest?
don't. No, I don't. If anything, I've been reminded of fairly traumatic things, especially in childhood. If anything, I
Well,
feel a bit grubby. If anything, I feel like, how can I really expect to go outside again and be
true.
normal?
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
sure all of your other amazing guests on this podcast are going to come, through it really refreshed.
Exactly. And I think we all feel grubby after
Mm.
hearing that poo in the left pocket story, to be fair. But thank you very much and good luck with all your amazing books. I don't know if I
Thank you.
told you I got your Choose Your Own Evolution, which is absolutely amazing. My only thing is I got woodlouse
Did
and
you?
my daughter
That
got
speaks to.
scorpion. So she was
Well,
yeah, she was like rubbing it in. So if you don't know, Jules's new book is Choose Your Own Evolution, a bit like the Choose Your Own Adventure book. So it's really fun. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. But I'm going to do it again and try and get a better creature. So
yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, don't forget woodlouse armored, shell and like
yeah,
scorpion sting
yeah,
can't get in there. You know what I mean? You're immune
yeah.
to the sting of a scorpion. Anyway, thank you for
So
saying
who's the
that.
real
Thanks ever
winner?
so much. Yeah, exactly. He's the real winner. No, cheers, mate.
Cool.
Thanks ever so much for having me on.
All right then. Take care. See you soon.
Toodles. Bye.
Bye. Thanks again to Jules for joining me in the Cringe Club today. I feel like I actually learnt stuff. Remember to check out his brilliant new book, Choose Your Own Evolution. It honestly is really, really cool. Oh, and I should probably also say, if you want even more cringe, then please pre-order my new book, Cringe Club, a funny book for tweens written entirely in group chat. And that is out on the 31st of July. And if anyone out there would like some advice on embracing their cringe, then please get your grown-up to email me at cringeclubcrew@gmail.com or DM me at emilyjane.clark on Instagram. Of course, grown-ups are very welcome to submit their shame too. Keep on cringing, everyone, and I will see you next time.